camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
Boom! What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush. We're a little bit late. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're back. And, of course, there's a lot to talk about, especially all this Matt Stafford stuff is heating up. We do apologize. BT had to take a rain check, so we were going to reschedule him for the next couple weeks. So I apologize for that, but we'll have Brandon Tierney on very soon. I was actually looking forward to it because I wanted to get his take on what's happening. You know, being at WFAN, a lot of information floating around there, between what Boomer's talking about and, of course, what Marash is talking about. So lots of stuff going on at WFAN Giants related. I've got Chris and Sean here, but Chris is having some difficulties getting his video working for some reason. So we're just going to kick off the show. And, oh, by the way, it's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
Damn right it is. Let's bring in Sean because, of course, you know, we got quarterback stuff to talk about, and we've got some new things to talk about, especially with what's been happening at the Senior Bowl a couple weeks ago. Is GM Joe has been talking about looking for a quarterback at the Senior Bowl, and that's not where Shawnee's boy was. So what does that tell you if GM Joe was looking for a quarterback at the Senior Bowl and Sean's the love of his life, Shedeur Sanders, is not there? Sean, what's up?
Miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
Coming out the gate hot. By the way, was your boy Cam Ward? Was your boy Cam Ward at the Senior Bowl?
Nope.
He was not. So I guess he's not looking at either one of those guys then. So
Jackson Dart was there. Dart was there.
You're right. Scouring the things for a quarterback. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully Chris comes back on.
Oh, wait, I think I see Chris in the green room. He is.
Oh, he is the man. Well, the Cats can toughen up us over here and give themselves a beer bash.
The beer bash. What's up, man?
Hey guys, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
It's all good, dude. Like it's happening to me. It's happening to you. We're having all sorts of technical difficulties. You're all frozen up. Nope, there you are. I got you back.
Yeah, I don't know what's
you're frozen.
Wow. All right.
Well, we
Not
should
sure how this is gonna go.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Don't move. We won't know the difference.
That's it.
I see you guys piling in the room. So what's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us. Guys, again, we were going to have BT on. He couldn't make it. He rescheduled, so we're good to go. So we're kind of got an open forum tonight. We're hoping you guys show up because we're going to do a little bit of fan appreciation and let them ask some questions, right? We'll get a little interactive there. But I wanted to start off with, these rumors that are floating around about GM Joe is down at the Senior Bowl, pretty much making it known that he's looking for a quarterback. Well, if you're at the Senior Bowl, the two best quarterbacks aren't there. So, Chris, does that give you any inclination that he's looking at maybe Ewers or Howard or anyone different than top two?
I mean, this is a couple weeks ago, right? Senior. So he's doing his due diligence, right? He's looking at whoever's there. Obviously, even Shedeur, who didn't play, he still was there, right? Didn't they speak, Sean? He didn't obviously play, but he was at the Senior Bowl, correct?
Shedeur was at the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, I thought he was going to the
Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, I thought he was at the Senior Bowl as well, hanging out. But yeah, man, he's doing his due diligence, right?
Well, Gino, if they were looking at Jalen Milroe, they were pretty disappointed because we did have on, Dave Syverson from our lads last week, and he told us, it was shocking that, Milroe just looked clunky, couldn't hand the ball off well, bad footwork, and that's kind of what happens when you play your entire career from the shotgun, right? But looked slow. And then but on the other side, we just had Jalen Milroe's coach, a high school football coach, on with Spartan Mike and Truth last week. So, he might just be a super developmental kid. You know what I mean? He may need 2 years to get going. Right, Sean?
Yeah, I'll take 2 years. So that's a guy. If you already have somebody in mind, you already have a quarterback here that may only have 2 years left in his NFL career that comes in and then sits back. But to your original question, Craig, remember the Senior Bowl is where the Burns trade happened. So talking down there, saying he's looking for a franchise quarterback, he could be working some trades going on either way, whether it's to trade up in the draft or trade for a quarterback. So just because the quarterbacks weren't there, Joe's doing his work, and it's also lying season, right? Smokescreen season, so it could be a little bit of that. So, but the thing is, I mean, everybody knows they're looking for a franchise quarterback. That's no secret, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't need Joe Shane to come out and say, "Hey, we're looking for a franchise quarterback." To know they need a franchise quarterback, but again, could be trade talk, which I know we're going to talk about here tonight. So anything happens, but again, that's where all the that's where the Brian Burns trade initiated, was down at the Senior Bowl. So
All true. And, and again, sometimes I think Joe might be a little too vocal, right? Because he takes a lot of heat for being local. All the things he says for some reason just comes back to haunt him one way or another. So, I would think he would be kind of keeping everything on the DL after Hard Knocks made him look bad. And, and basically, then the 2 players he lets go blow up. So I'm hoping this year he just flies below the radar. And then 4 weeks from now, he just totally blows up the room with this aggressive play on free agency. So, Chris, I said earlier about what should we be doing, right? Because, Tierney couldn't make tonight. So we're talking about making it interactive. And then Sean says, hey, let's talk about your identity post that you posted today, because it got a lot of traction. So, Chris, I'm going to start, with you on creating an identity, right? So what the Giants have basically lacked, Chris, for years now is an identity. Are they an offensive juggernaut? Are they a smash mouth defense? Do they play fast and furious? Do they get after the quarterback? Do they stop the run? Does our offense go vertical, or are we pounding the rock? None of it. We're doing none of it. We have no identity anywhere at any time. So I put a post out there that said, well, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I mean, the plan seems to be, from a defensive standpoint, if you wanted to get back to playing great defense, Chris, right? If you really wanted to set the table and go in with a top 10 defense in 2025, it would look like, and I'm going to pull the tweet up because I want to make sure I don't misquote myself. I misquote you guys all the time, but I want to make sure I quote myself properly.
Yeah, he didn't worry about misquoting us. He worries about misquoting himself.
Totally not worried about that. I love you guys either way, but I butcher what you guys say all the time. So, all right, here it is. Okay. So if they wanted Chris to have a defense of staple and say, wow, the Giants really did something on their defense, this was my plan. I want you to evaluate the plan, and then I want you to put your 2 cents in. Ready? Step 1, draft Carter or Graham, which is, of course, the dynamic outside linebacker, edge rusher from Penn State, and Graham, which is the defensive tackle from Michigan, right? Number 2 would be sign Ward or Reed, Ward being from the 49ers, Reed being from the Jets. Okay. And then if you are drafting Carter or Graham, then if you draft Carter, you draft a defensive tackle in the 2nd round because it's deep, right? Deep class, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we move Banks from CB1 to CB2 because we signed Ward or Reed, right? DJ Reed. Mm-hmm. And then we add in the NASCAR for Tibbs. So because Carter is going to be a better player. Mm-hmm. He's not West Coast bougie. He's a Penn State, Big Ten, East Coast guy, right? He's going to come in here and light it up. Bring the NASCAR back so we can get Tibbs on the field on 2nd and 3rd down, right? And lastly is free agency. Go out and get a safety that can compete with Pinnock or Belton for that matter too. But, but Newman's still the starter. So Draft Carter or Graham, sign Reed or Ward, draft a D tackle in the second round. If you draft Carter, move Banks to CB2, add in the NASCAR as a regular staple, and sign a free agent safety to compete with Pinnock. You're up. Go.
Yeah. When you look at the identity, we're talking about the defense because our offense doesn't have an identity just yet. We'll see what happens down the road. But when you look at this defense, those first 7-8 games, the identity was starting to be, hey, they get after the quarterback. The sacks were piling up, and it started to evolve. And without a lot of blitzing, too, those guys were getting there in the front that, hey, this is a Giants team that's going to get after the quarterback. So sticking with that premise going to 2025, if they did not go quarterback, I'm with you. I want to go Abdul Carter. The reason is I'd rather maybe get one of the other defensive tackles in the later round, maybe more of a run stuffer, and let Dex do his thing, only because you think of Tibbs, he's probably going to get the fifth-year option, which I believe in May. They got to tag him. So he's going to get it. Right. So now you have that down the road. You're going to have Abdul Carter for those extra years. You're going to have him for another 3 years after Tibbs if he were to leave and get his payday. But I like that. I like the idea of having Tibbs, Burns, Carter, and Dexter. And you know what? They are going to add another edge guy, a veteran. If Aziz didn't come back, they're going to need some more depth there. So I like that. I think that would be fantastic. And then when you're talking about the safeties or the corners, yeah, I mean, DJ Reed, he's going to be pricey. He's going to be the number one guy out there. Well, you can't pay everybody, right? It all depends on what other holes you want to fill. But I think cornerback, like you're saying, is one of the needs, big need. So I think a Ward or a DJ Reed could be that could be the guy. There's also a few other guys, right, that are on that list.
Not good as Reed or Ward, though.
No, and safeties. There's a lot of veterans. Ashton Davis, a veteran with the Jets, he'll be out there. But these guys seem to be like in their late 20s, 28, 29, second contract, 30. So I think the safeties are a little older, which is good. Have a vet presence. But I would agree with you. I think cornerback is probably a bigger need than defensive tackle. The reason being is I think it's hard to transition at corner coming out of college to the pros. We've seen that with Banks, Baker, all these other guys. So I think you get that top-notch free agent corner, and then you try to fill that defensive tackle hole maybe in that later rounds because it's so deep.
Sean, so here's the question, though. Chris likes it. Chris likes it, but I don't know if Chris is saying that's what he would do. Like, I want to know is, because if we don't do all of that, or at least 80% of that, you're still not, you know what you're doing? Well, we put a couple Band-Aids here and there.
Well, I'll go right on the record right now. I want Abdul Carter at 3. I'll pass on the 2 quarterbacks and go into,
okay.
Barring they add a legitimate veteran quarterback, whoever that may be.
Okay. Now I feel better because here's the thing. I get it. We need a quarterback. If they can get themselves a quarterback, right? A veteran quarterback, is why not? Give me a good reason why we would not draft Carter or Graham, why we would not sign one of the 2 top corners. Like the money should be spent on the quarterback and the cornerback. Okay, they're CB1, right? Then you draft the defensive tackle, right? I draft 2 defensive tackles for all I care, right? And then, now the defense has substance, right? I mean, like, if you do not fill the CB1 and the defensive tackle 2 spot, the team doesn't get any better. Carter's not going to be able to do all this without someone on the backside that can cover. So Carter's great, but if we don't have a CB1, does it matter? So I think, again, back to identities. If you want a great identity, Sean, and jump in here. If they want a good defensive identity, Sean, I just feel you gotta go for it. You can't do anything half-ass.
And last thing, Craig, sorry, Sean, last thing, I'm done. They're absolutely going to go with a CB1, whoever that may be. They need one. They cannot let the lack of a cornerback in the free agency dictate what they're going to do in the draft. They have to fill that spot. There's too many other holes, and that's a major hole where they need a veteran at CB1. They can't wait for a guy to develop. Now, if you're saying Hunter, different story maybe. But I think they got to go with a CB1 right off the bat in free agency.
Hey, Cold, I popped this up on here for you because it's a great question. Every draft analyst you listen to says that this is the deepest class they've had on D tackles in a while. They'd really have to mangle it not to find one, because they're talking about, 20 to 25 guys that are all going to play in the pros, right? That are first round, second round, and third round picks. So just, calculating out, I don't think, unless he pushes D tackle down to like the fourth or fifth pick in the draft, I don't know how he could get it wrong. If you go with Carter 1, go with the defensive tackle 2. If you go with Mason Graham at 1, then your problem is solved at D tackle. Then go get the next best edge that's there, or go get that CB1. But those 3 positions got to be filled, right, Sean?
Yeah, I agree, but I'm going a different route than you. I felt, and I've said it all along, the defense was good enough to win games last year. They had some injuries that impacted things. There's a couple pieces that are needed. So I'm going to go with the offensive identity. We're going to have a good offense. We're going to take a quarterback at 3. We're going to we need a D tackle, but we're going to take that in the 3rd round, because you got guys like Shamar Stewart, Kenneth Grant, Vernon Broughton. You got guys in that 3rd round that can come in and help. But we go quarterback in round 1. We then go, I would love to go Harold Fannin Jr. in round 2 and pair him with Theo Johnson. Have an offensive identity. I saw a report today that Chris Godwin is projected at 3 years, $65 million. I'm spending that on him to bring him in as wide receiver 2 with Neighbors, right? I'm drafting a running back in the 4th round, because this draft is loaded with running backs, to pair him with Tyrone Tracy. I'm looking at getting a guard in free agency. So I'm spending on a wide receiver, and I'm spending on a guard. I can find a cheap cornerback that can come in. That you got a Asante Samuel out there, junior, that won't cost much, that could play pretty good. And I'm going offensive heavy in the draft. We're going to be an offensive identity with a solid defense. We're going to score points on offense, but we're going to have a defense that is good enough to help us win games. So I'm going a little different route. Not that I hate your idea, but I want, get the rookie quarterback. You can spend money on a lot of other things to help out this team and more players to come in. So
you're cool with winning 3 games this year and 5 games the year before. So you're shooting for 2027.
I've already told you, rookie does not mean we're only going to win 3 or 5 games. The trend, because we're all about trends. The trends are
your trends. You
follow the trends, my man. You follow the trends, my man. Trends are rookie quarterbacks are winning. You support, you build a team around them. This team has it there, and then you add free agency, you add this. Imagine you have a rookie quarterback that's throwing to, and here's another thing I would throw out there. I'm even looking to potentially trade for DK Metcalf, because that rumor's out there, because I don't think it'd take a high draft pick to get him potentially. So imagine you have, if you can't get a Godwin, right? But imagine you have Chris Godwin, Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson. You have Tyrone Tracy. You have Harold Fannin Jr., Theo Johnson. You have another rookie running backs, one of the great ones that are out there. We get a Cam Scatterbo. Imagine Cam Scatterbo in that backfield doing things, pounding, physicality, right? Able to score points. That defense can do what it needs to do. You add a 3rd round D tackle who is equivalent to be a 2nd round talent, right? Now you shut down that run game. The defense can get off the field. The offense can put up points, and the defense isn't tired. Like Chris said, they were leading the league in sacks. They led the league in sacks per game average last season. I've said this many times. The secondary was actually ranked 8th in passing defense. So, yes, guys were this, that, and the other thing. But if you have a pass rush, it helps that secondary, and you can bring in another guy, like I said, Asante Samuel Jr., who won't coach you or not. So I'm good with that. We're going to have an extra 4th, maybe a 3rd comp pick for McKinney, I heard. So, yeah, if you can't get Godwin, you get a DK Metcalf, you put him in there. I mean, I want an offense that can score points and a defense that can get off the field. That's my identity.
All right. Let me unpack that for a sec. I don't think you can do both, of course, right? You got to kind of pick and choose what side you want to create the identity of. Like it's really too hard to do in one season to create an offensive and a defense identity. So from the offensive side, the one thing that sticks out to me is I don't think Godwin's the right guy because he's very similar to Neighbors. I think you need more of a bigger body possession guy.
Well, he's the speed guy. He would take. That's what he takes over the Slayton role in a much better role. He's the deep threat, the speed guy.
I don't find him very much. I don't find him different than Neighbors. Like I'm just saying. My opinion is it's like I'd like to have a bigger. I'd like to have a DK Metcalf over Godwin or a T Higgins over Godwin because I don't want any. We have 6-foot receivers. Give me a 6'3" guy. Give me a possession guy. Give me a guy that got 50-50 balls. Give me a guy that can get up, right? Some vertical. You know what I mean? With a big body and keep guys off them. These DBs are getting bigger and bigger every year. So I don't love the Godwin thing. I don't hate the Godwin thing. The second thing is that, your rookie quarterback, again, you're right. CJ won, Burrow, won. Daniels, of course, won. There is a handful of guys out there. Statistically, your rookie quarterback's not usually a winner in year one. I'd hate to watch another season of Chris. We've been talking about just winning and turning this thing around. How does it feel to you if the trend is we're going to win 4 games with a rookie quarterback next year?
It all depends on how it goes down. The close games, he's learning. Things are moving along. I think it sucks though because we're so tired of losing. And my question is, what free agents are going to want to come here till they know what that quarterback is, and that's why I'm leaning on free agency, and we'll get into that. But you're trying to get free agents to come here and get excited along with the fan base. They got to know who the quarterback is. And I don't know if waiting to the draft is going to be enough to get guys come here, fingers crossed that, hey, we're going to get the right guy in here, sit tight and let the draft play out. I think they got to bring in that vet to stir up a little excitement for these free agents.
1,000%. Yeah, Metcalf, Godwin, those guys are like, man, who's the quarterback? Like, what happens if they go to the draft and they don't get the quarterback, right? Or what happens? Like, Metcalf ain't coming, Godwin ain't coming. T. Higgins
Metcalf's you're trading for, so Metcalf don't have a choice. If you trade for him, he's going to be here. And if these guys think you're going to get Sanders or Ward, these guys watch. All the players have talked well of the. Again, I don't believe it. Imagine you have Sanders or Ward throwing to a Godwin, Metcalf, Neighbors, Wandale, all those guys. Please.
Sean, the only, you're at the 3 spot.
Malik Neighbors had 1,200 yards with 4 different quarterbacks who were ass.
He didn't have a choice. But he didn't have a choice.
Straight ass. The hate on the rookies is just too much.
But he didn't have a choice.
Listen, if Caleb Williams had a better coach last year, they win more than what they won last year. He played better.
Oh yeah, the quarterback held him down from making bad
I said the coach. Caleb Williams played better. They would have won more games. They lost on a Hail Mary because the coach didn't. The player was off talking to the stands.
You're siloing everything down to like black or white. If the quarterback had played better all year long, they wouldn't have needed to throw the ball.
He did play. That's the whole point. If you look at his stats, and listen, Caleb's going to learn. He's got to stop doing the backyard ball, but his stats were comparable throughout the season to what other Daniels put up, other people put up when it comes to that. So yes, it's not recent trends. I get the statistics, but you follow the recent trends, and all recent trends are rookie quarterbacks have been playing well. Again, so you can't assume we're only going to win 4 games because look at how many rookie quarterbacks. But you're
taking the end result. What Chris is saying is that these guys have choices where they play, right? And while they may think, yeah, that's a nice kid, that's a good guy, you also have Malik Neighbors saying, hey, the GOAT, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, like, I love the way this guy throws the ball. Like, they don't have to come here. Neighbors got drafted here, right? So he didn't have a choice to come here. But a guy like whether it's Cooper Kupp or it's Godwin or T Higgins, they have choices. It's because just because they don't come here doesn't mean, yeah, I know they want to get paid, but they're going to get paid pretty much anywhere they go, right? Like they still are going to choose who the quarterback is. I think, Chris, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but like it is about excitement. Nobody wants to go to a 3-win team if they don't know who the quarterback is.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I believe. I mean, if you got a Mariota in free agency, that tells me right there they're definitely going quarterback. Obviously, in pick 3. Who's to say that those picks that Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward will even be there at 3 with these other teams looking to jump, like a Pittsburgh looking maybe to get a quarterback? And that's why I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse, only because free agency hasn't started. We have to see what teams like Tennessee, Pittsburgh do in free agency along with the Giants. And that's going to dictate Cleveland. And that's going to dictate where these quarterbacks may fall and who may jump or not jump. If Pittsburgh adds an Aaron Rodgers for a year, they're not going to maybe take a Sanders. I mean, maybe they'll pass on it, right? Not want to jump. Not want to move up in the draft. So I think free agency is going to really, it's going to be the crystal ball for the draft. That's really what we're going to see what's going on once we get through free agency. Everything is so cloudy right now with the draft, just because got to see where these quarterbacks land up.
We had free agents that came here for Daniel Jones. Don't tell me they won't come here if they think that the Giants are going to get a rookie. Like, it's crazy. Like, so that means you can never draft a rookie. Like, if you're bad, you can never draft a rookie. Listen,
we're just talking about the Giants position.
I don't think you need. I don't think you need to have a quarterback. Now, if you have a good backup or you bring somebody in and they see that, okay, yeah, then they know they're going to go for quarterback. But you don't need to have a good quarterback in place to have free agents to come here. If they especially know if you're going to go a quarterback in the draft, absolutely.
Again, it's just the choice they have. If they
how many free agents went to Washington last season?
And they have over $100 million to spend, and a guy like Godwin or a guy like Metcalf may want to say, "Listen, if you're going to trade me, I want to go. This is where I want to go." I mean, on the opposite side of McLaurin.
So my point is, last year, all those free agents signed with Washington, not knowing who their draft or knowing they were going to draft Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback. You had Bobby Wagner, you had Tuvu. Like, there was a lot of free agents they brought in that helped that team. Austin Eckler came in, without knowing who was the quarterback.
Bobby Wagner came purely because Dan Quinn was the coach.
Doesn't matter why they came. They still came. You can't downplay it.
But before the season, I will say, Sean, the Giant roster, and everybody kind of said this, Giant roster was better than Washington. Jaden Daniels just took it to a whole new level, and everybody knew that Jaden Daniels was going to go to Washington. So I think, on the offensive side, who were the big guys that they really brought over? Austin Eckler, and an offensive lineman, a couple
Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, and then a couple linemen. Yeah, so there was guys that went there. And again, if these free agents know that the Giants are going to take either Sanders or Ward, these free agents are going to come here because they like both Sanders and Ward. Why would they? Why would they go to Washington? Why would Washington go? Why would free agents go to Washington with Jaden Daniels?
Again, what you're making it one choice or the other. I'm only saying that, like, yes, they could come here and hope the quarterback works out, or go to Cincinnati and play with Joe Burrow. Or they could go to Jacksonville and play with, like, the choice. It's still their choice. The Giants can't. You're just saying, like, we're hating on a rookie. We're just saying, how does the team get better? The team can't depend on a rookie quarterback to make the roster better. That's all it is.
Of course not.
Whether he's good or not is irrelevant. We can't hope he's better. So you have to figure out how to make the team better. Because if it doesn't work out, that 50-50 gamble, then those guys are like, I made a bad choice. Those guys are saying, where is my career? Trey Smith is not coming to play for a rookie QB.
That's bullshit. That's really? Because look at all the guys that went to Washington that played for a rookie quarterback. And let's you bring up Malik Neighbors.
Football is
Malik Neighbors is high on both Ward and Sanders.
And Stafford and Cooper Kupp.
Okay, so he's high on rookies. So we can't stop avoiding drafting a rookie quarterback. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Both these guys can come in and win games with the Giants. That roster, I've said it along. I'll continue to say it. That roster is better than what people think. If we had better quarterback play, including we can get better quarterback play from a rookie, they won 9 to 10 games last year. What I love about Matt Stafford? Absolutely. But we can't say that, no, you can't bring in a rookie because they're only going to win 4 games. That's BS. That's bullshit. Sorry.
No one's saying that.
You did. You said we're going to. Yes.
I said if they win
Chris,
only
back me up here, Chris. Back me up. Did he not say to you, Chris, how do you feel about if we only win 4 games next year with a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, but I'm not saying they can't win.
Yeah,
more
and
games.
It sucks. And it sucks. If they win 4 games, it's going to suck, even with a rookie.
Yeah.
And that's why if they got
it.
a rookie, he doesn't get thrown in there right away, whoever that is.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah,
I think both those guys are ready. I think it's too old school that saying a rookie can't come into it.
But you're so tied to Sanders, and you're blinded by.
I said Ward. I've said both Sanders and Ward. I said either one of those guys can come in and do well here, especially if you surround them with talent. You surround them with a Trey Smith. You surround them with a DK Metcalf or Chris Godwin or a Cooper Kupp. I'll take Cooper Kupp too for all that matters. You have talent around them. It makes them better.
2 things that can be true, Joker. We can draft a rookie quarterback and still not land quality free agents. That's the whole point. He said it better. It's just the nature of the beast.
How do other teams land quality free agents?
They do.
This is a Giants only thing. Like, quality free agents go to other teams that don't have a good quarterback or have a rookie quarterback. That's the most asinine thing I've heard. So we're never going to get anybody because we have a rookie quarterback. That's just dumb. Sorry, dumb.
It's just about turning the tide and making a better competitive team.
How many free agents went to the Houston Texans?
Listen, I think it more evolves the wide receiver position because those guys are based on numbers. Their money is based on the receptions, the touchdowns, yards after the catch. So a wide receiver, I think, takes that a lot more seriously on who's going to be throwing them the ball than an offensive lineman who's going to be run blocking and really just wants to make sure he's doing his job. Yeah. His job isn't reflective on how the quarterback is doing. But if the receiver only catches X amount of balls and he's doing his job, chances are the quarterback, a la Jones, isn't doing his job. So I think there lies the little gray area where, all right, who's throwing me the ball? I want to know before I sign.
Yeah.
For that big-time receiver. Now, if it's at 3, hopefully one of those quarterbacks there, right? I mean, that's what the Giants are going to look for, either Ward or Sanders.
And that was the whole point is if you're Chris Godwin and you can go play for Burrow or go, because T. Higgins left, do you go to Cincinnati or do you go to the Giants? You go to Cincinnati. It's just they're going to still make a choice. Maybe it's a guy like, hey, I'm at the end of my career. I don't want to get beat up. Trey Smith may it's the end of my career. I don't want to get beat up playing for a rookie quarterback. Or it could be like hey, guys got incentives. I want to make the Pro Bowl. I want to make the playoffs. I want to get, this is going to be written into my contract.
But see, there you go again. You're assuming you're doing it right there. You're assuming that somebody comes here and plays for a rookie quarterback is going to get beat up. You just said, I don't want to come here and get beat up behind a rookie quarterback. I got incentives to make the Pro Bowl. I can't do that with a rookie quarterback. You absolutely can.
I'm talking about the media.
How about Bo Nix in Denver? Did Denver suck with a rookie quarterback last year? Were they bad?
Dude, you're way off the rails. We're not saying it can't happen. We're just saying
you're absolutely saying that, though. You're saying that these free agents won't want to come here because of a rookie quarterback.
Because you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. So yes, they will never win with Sanders or Ward. They're going to go 0-16. Will that make you feel better?
Yes. You said free agents won't come here because of a rookie quarterback. You said that they're going to win 4 games if a rookie quarterback starts.
Tell the man again if you're what it does to people with choices.
I think if you're going through that second contract, you're looking for your big payday and your receiver, you may not want to come here because you want to make your payday. But all things being equal, I think it more lies on the receiver position on who they want to see throwing them the ball. But when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to the money, right? Who's going to give them the best offer? All being equal, they probably wouldn't maybe go to Giants. They're going to they might go to Washington. There's $100 million to spend and add even more to the roster. So,
and if you don't get a free agent wide receiver, if you don't get a free agent wide receiver, you trade for DK Metcalf. He doesn't have a choice in the matter. If you trade for him, he's coming here regardless, right? So that's fine. Or you bring in a Cooper Kupp, which I would be absolutely thrilled with Cooper Kupp as a wide receiver too. We don't need him to be the main guy. He'll teach that young receiver room. You got
if
options.
if that receiver is that good out there, he's going to have options. It's not just going to be the Giants. And now he's going to weigh what's the better situation. So I think we're all looking at in a vacuum that Giants are the only team, but we all, you're going to have other options out there for whoever that excellent free agent might be.
That's the point, right? Our point
is competition for him.
If those guys have choices, it's not a knock on the rookie quarterback. It's all is if they have choices, they may choose someone they like playing with better. That's all it is.
It would never happen this way, but it really almost should be like the draft. Should be first. That way these free agents can see
100%.
How has this team been put together and what's a good fit for me. Look at Kirk Cousins. Would Kirk Cousins have gone to Atlanta if he knew that Penix was chosen? No. He was shocked. That wasn't part of the plan. So you almost wish the draft actually happened first, but it's just the way it's laid out with these college guys and combines and everything. The college days, it's just not going to happen. It will never happen.
All those NFL rules are crazy, Chris, where you can't interview a coach unless you can block them. Like, all those NFL rules are ridiculous.
Yeah, if you see what the NFL's done, they've almost done it like baseball. Every month in the 12-month period, there's always something going on, right? February is the combine. March kicks off free agency. End of April is the schedule release. May is OTAs or April is OTAs. But every month has something with the NFL, and that's just got our attention. Every month, it's always something to keep the eyes on. Whether it's a franchise tags and
it's also right, and they like doing it that way because then you know what you can do in the draft, and I mean it does make sense from a team standpoint to do free agency first and then draft. So I get it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it the other way either. It would make it. Maybe some guys will be like, all right, yeah, let's do this. But I get why it's done the other way.
Yeah.
Speaking of free agency, a lot of folks believe in a free agent quarterback taking over, whether they groom or bridged into the new quarterback. Let's play a little fact or fiction, boys, because Matt Stafford rumors are, basically growing, rapidly. So I put together a list of 7 questions, which I have not revealed to you guys. And we're going to play a little Matt Stafford fact or fiction. Okay. Let's start off. This is almost more of an opinion. Chris, is Matt Stafford washed?
No.
Chris, Sean?
No, he had like 3,800 yards last year, 20 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
Yes. And the reason why we bring that up is that there are folks out there that don't follow football or the Rams or have no idea what Stafford has done the last couple of years or at all for that matter. And they're like 37 years old, got to be washed. Guy's not washed. Fact or fiction, Sean? Matt Stafford made progress last week with the Rams on his contract talks. Fact or fiction?
It depends on what we mean by progress. The fact that they had talks, I'll say fact.
Okay. Progress would be moving forward and positivity going in the right direction.
I would say I'm going to say fact to that.
Okay, it is fiction. They met the week before the Super Bowl and they made no additional progress. They are still exactly where they were all the way through the 2024 season. They are not any further along in their negotiation. They met the day before the Super Bowl.
I thought there was a report that came out today that said they talked again.
The report that came out today by MSNBC News is the one I saw. And then, of course, the sports guys jumped on it. Was day before the Super Bowl was the last time they met, and there was zero progress at all. And they left it on the table. Chris, fact or fiction? Matt Stafford is due a league roster bonus or a NFL team roster bonus on March 3rd for $8 million.
I believe that's a fact. I believe he is due some money in March.
That is fiction, but it's a double pointer, though. He is due. Matt Stafford is due a roster bonus on March 3rd, but I played a little trick on you.
Okay, I didn't know the amount.
That it's not $8 million. It's only $4 million.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I thought I heard that.
so they could still pay him his roster bonus and still trade him, which would, of course, change the negotiation of who owes what. But he is due March 3rd. Matt Stafford is due a roster bonus of $4 million.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? Unless they cut him, the new league year doesn't start till March 12th. So how does that work? They would have to pay him unless they cut him because he would still be under contract. The trade wouldn't be in effect till the 12th.
I think
That's what I don't understand.
It's the March 3rd date is their official contract league date. So they can do the league may not start off with free agency, but the league itself from a contract standpoint is March 3rd. That's
right.
when you're
because no trades are allowed right now until the new league year. So that's why I was kind of thinking about how does that work.
But your contract when you get paid is March 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, Matt Stafford's wife, Kelly, has a very popular podcast that has rubbed the Rams in the wrong way, fact or fiction.
That's absolute fact.
That is true. It is a fact. It is called The Morning After, and there is a little bit of rub between the Rams and her that, it's a popular podcast. They cover a lot of subjects, and I guess there has been some conversation on these podcasts about how Cooper Kupp's been treated and how potentially her husband's been being treated because he still doesn't have a contract coming into the season. So that is part of this conversation that the Rams,
I think maybe he does have a contract. He's due, I think, $25 million. They just gave him that guaranteed money last year. So
yeah, he wants a new contract.
Right, new contract. Right.
His wife is feeling he might be not being treated right, and they're not happy about the Cooper Kupp situation. Sounds like they're pretty close. So yes, that is a fact that she has a podcast. It's called The Morning After, and that could be a little bit of a thorn in the front office of the Rams. Might not be a Sean McVay thing, but maybe the front office.
And let's all take this. This has become common knowledge now. We talked about this a couple months ago as rumor, but when the Rams only had there were 3 games under 500. They 4-7 before the deadline, and then Matt Stafford went out and threw 4 touchdown passes against the Vikings. The Giants and the Rams were in talks about the trade, about trading for him, and he was on the block. Now, I'm sure Stafford didn't appreciate that. Fast forward, he almost takes him to the Super Bowl, So I'm sure, probably all resonated and started from that point.
And again, now you come full circle that, we're coming into the new year and he's still looking to get, paid and finish out his career. And they're kind of like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's this podcast that your wife does that we don't really love. So, and anything, the rumor was, again, totally media driven that the Giants were going to trade the 3rd pick in the draft. I mean, it's just not true. I mean, Schefter said they're under no circumstances the Giants are trading the 3rd pick. So everybody running with that's the compensation. It is not the compensation. Okay. The Giants may be dumb, but they're not fools. Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's not get crazy.
Now the 34th pick could be a whole nother story.
Correct. That is true. All right. Let me get to the next one. Chris, fact or fiction? Stafford has thrown for over 4,000 yards 9 times in his career. Fact or fiction?
I'm going to guess. I'll say that's a fact.
It is a fact. He has been in the league for 15 years. He has thrown for over 4,000 yards half the time. He's got back-to-back 4,000 yard, years. The guy definitely slings a rock, right? I mean, he definitely can produce from a throwing standpoint. The guy is always a peripheral 3,500 to 4,500. He even has a 5,000 yards season. Yeah, he can definitely sling it cold.
And he made Galladay look good, didn't he?
He did make Galladay good. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out. I want to roll down a little roll call here. What's up, Gino? What's up, Juke? Which looks to be new. So what's up, Juke? Welcome to the show. Unless you just got a new icon. Grangier, what's up? Just saying hello to you folks. I'm rolling through JT. In case I miss anybody, I want you guys just to what's up, Freeze? What's up, Mark B? What's up, K-Mac? Goofballs. So Drew's in the house. What's up, Drew? Make sure you guys check out their podcast. They're good folks. Cold, of course, is the OG. I don't see Tuto. I think OG and I think Tuto and Cold are like the OGs. All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Fact or fiction? Stafford is thrown for over 25 TDs 10 times in his career. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Good job. It is fiction, believe it or not. He is only thrown for 25 touchdowns or more 6 times, which I thought was really odd. You know what I mean? He's got a couple 24s. You know what I mean? Of course, he's got a couple 35s. He's got a couple 40s even, right? But I was surprised. And I think it's more or less like when you look at those early Detroit years, they were bad for so long. He had no one to throw the ball to.
Except for Megatron early on.
Yeah.
So you're right. So Stafford is thrown for over 25 touchdowns a year, 6 times in his career. All right, last one, fact or fiction. Chris, Stafford is thrown for less than 10 picks or less, 10 interceptions or less, 8 times in his career.
He played 15 years. He's been playing. Yeah, I'm going to say he's right around there, but I'll say fiction. He's throwing a little more.
Incorrect.
Oh,
it is a fact. It is a fact that he has thrown for 10 picks or less 8 times. And check this out. In 2019, he only threw 5. In 2022, he threw 8. And then in 2024, he only threw 8. So he's gotten better as he's gotten older, learning what to do with the ball.
Love it.
Wait, did I miss Mike? Is Mark even in here? I didn't see Mark Thompson.
Mark Thompson? He's here. You missed
Oh,
Jay.
There he is. Yeah. It was below the fold. My bad. What's up, Mark? Didn't mean to leave you out there. I did not see you pop in. Welcome to the show. I know Mark has been super busy. He's been jamming recently. So I'm glad you're here. Guys, let's talk about Matt Stafford. Chris, what's your thoughts overall? You want him? You don't? You think he fits? He doesn't? Because remember, as Sean has pointed out so perfectly, because people forget, Chris, he doesn't have a no trade clause, right? And people were going crazy about it. And Sean's like, hello, he doesn't have a no trade clause. Because, people were getting crazy. Why would you want to come here? Doesn't matter.
In my opinion, I think it's going to happen. And I look at a couple things where there's smoke, there's fire with the relationship between Les Snead, Joe Shane, McVay, and Dable during the season. They were talking about this trade. They've had trades in the past. A couple years ago, the Giants moved up with Rams, and so I think there's a relationship there. I also think that Stafford wants out, and like you alluded to, and I think the combine is going to be a big thing to watch with the head coach Shane and Dable and Les Snead and McVay at the combine. I think things are going to heat up. And if with Shane always the past 2 seasons, whether it's Burns and Waller, he seems to make a big splash in free agency. And I think this is as much as he doesn't want to, say he's throwing a Hail Mary. I think you possibly get Stafford for 3 years up until he's 40. I think he can do it till he's 40, and you push back the drafting a quarterback for a couple of years. I do believe it's going to happen. Too.
Interesting. And you feel that way because
he walks right in.
You don't think, but your main reason is you don't think the Rams will want to pay him?
No, I think the main reason is when they were 4-7, they were looking to move on for him. And they were putting Kupp out there as well. I think just connecting the dots, how this all started in October, the rumor, which we didn't know if it was true. And now it's come to light that there were conversations. And if the if the Rams didn't beat the Vikings that night, it looks like he would have been traded. But then they got back in the race and they kind of played out the season. And look what happened. They almost went to the Super Bowl. But I think he's moving on. I do. And I think Shane's gonna pull off a trade here. And I believe it's, in my opinion, it's could probably be the 34th pick, and the Giants maybe get back a 5th or a 4th. They get something in compensation as well back in another pick. But I think I just feel like, and I don't think he's going to rest it on a rookie quarterback. The opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's going to rest it on a rookie quarterback. And if they went 5-12, and even the rookie quarterback does well, but the fact they went 5-12, how can Dable come back? Even though they let the rookie quarterback do his thing, which is understandable. And I think this is self-preservation. Stafford for 3 years. Mara's probably behind this too, I would think. He's had enough. I think we've all had enough. Give us a real quarterback right off the bat.
So, Sean,
Yeah,
that is accurate, and let's say they don't draft the quarterback and Stafford is the guy. We already know Neighbors loves him. He's been raving about Stafford now for quite some time. Does that change the identity to lean your way? Do the Giants then go all do they stock the offense up? Because you're going to need better linemen, right? And you're going to want that wide receiver too that we've been pining away for, the Godwin, T. Higgins, whoever else is out there. Like, do you feel now like you're forcing the hand to give Stafford some tools?
yeah. I mean, if you're going to bring in Stafford, I feel the same way whether it's Stafford or a rookie. But yeah, if you bring in Stafford, yeah, you got to get another wide receiver too in there. You got to get. Listen, I'll say again. I know people keep talking about the O-line, but the O-line is not a major problem at all. I mean, would you like? Greg Van Roten played much better at guard than people realize. But would I still bring in a better guard? Yes, because then you can move Van Roten over to center. You can compete for the starting job against JMS, so it makes the depth better. It makes your entire O-line better. But yeah, I do think that if you bring in Stafford, then maybe bring in Kupp as well, or you bring in another wide receiver too. You add weapons there so that he can really excel in your setup offensively.
Hey, Craig, okay, follow you.
No, go ahead, go.
Other strange thing, this Chad Hall that they brought in as the assistant quarterback coach. The guy's never worked with quarterbacks. To make a lateral move, you can't as a receiver coach leaving one organization to another. So the fact that they gave him an advancement as assistant coach just seems strange. I mean, it just seems very weird, right? Why do they need an assistant quarterback coach that never coached quarterbacks? And I know he was on Dable likes him. He's with them in Buffalo, but everything just seems odd. Just seems very odd. And the fact that Kupp if he doesn't get traded, may be released.
Yeah.
You don't think the discussions are with all parties involved? I know we only had a couple wins. We'll bring your pal Kupp here too. We'll bring Cooper, as well. So we don't know what goes on behind it, but that could be part of it, right? I mean, you don't know.
Well, Buffalo blocked Hall from coming to the Giants. They wanted him when he first got hired, and Buffalo blocked it. And then he went to Jacksonville, was able to come here. So I get it, but I think it's more of Dave just wants him on his staff. He was Stafford's brother-in-law, in Buffalo too. So I don't know, but I can see how it looks that way. But I think it's more of
quarterbacks, right?
No, but I think because you couldn't make the move hiring him as a wide receiver. But he'll work with wide receivers because the other thing I do think is, does it open up? And I said this, a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this too. Does it open up Stefon Diggs coming here? Because Stefon Diggs said that Hall was the best wide receiver coach he's ever worked with.
And thanks to Mark Thompson, he said that we can always, and Mark's always a research machine. So, I mean, maybe he was a QB in another life.
He was quarterback and wide receiver in college. He was quarterback and wide receiver in college.
All those things, again, we're just looking for some positivity. It could be a Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Stefon Diggs, Malik Neighbors thing. It sounds too good to be true. right? Like all those things coming because it is a bunch of older dudes, right? I don't know if you can rely on a bunch of 35-year-old guys for everything, right? So some of that seems great. Doesn't mean it makes sense. That's the other thing. Does it make sense to bring in all those guys?
Well, I mean, when you look at we need vets and guys that are proven winners that can do well in this league, even if they're at 35. Now, listen, when you talk about a 37-year-old quarterback, recent trends are that quarterbacks are playing longer. Like you look how many guys are playing into their late 30s now, right? It's a whole different era, a whole different thing because they can't get hit. So they can last longer, right? All the rules are to protect them. But I do think you get some guys in their 30s. It's what this team needs, right? You got enough youth on it. They were the 4th youngest roster last year. So you got to have some guys with some seasoning to them, right, to help. And again, you bring in a guy like Kupp, who is going to make our receiving room that much better, not just from what he does on the field. And by the way, his numbers in only 12 games last year was really good. I'll take those numbers, even if I only get 12 games and a playoff game out of them, right? But he's going to help improve guys like Jalen Hyatt, Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson. He's going to teach them things that maybe some coaches can't teach them because Cooper Kupp by far is arguably the best route runner in the league right now, right? Even at his age. So imagine that leadership in the wide receiver room, which is why Neighbors is calling for a Kupp. That's why he put it out there, right? Like he knows what he can do. And I love Neighbors' football IQ. That dude's got football IQ. So I if he wants to be involved in deciding who comes here and giving influence and the Giants want to listen to him, by all means, please listen to the dude.
I've seen nothing but Illuminor, Neighbors, and Chapman. I've seen all three of those guys out there on Twitter, out there on X, just pumping up guys, talking about things. I mean, they're trying, right? They want to win. They want to bring in the right guys, right? And Chris, all these things could be in the works and have been in the works for a while. We're never going to know, but we do realize that they got to have the balls to make big moves. Whether it's like, hey, we're drafting Sanders and we're going to give him T. Higgins, or we're bringing Stafford in and we're getting Trey Smith, right? Like they don't have a choice, regardless of what decision they make.
That's right. And if you're Joe Shane, you let somebody else pick up the pieces. If this all fails, they're gone anyway. Somebody else will have to deal with the mess, just like Edelman left Shane the mess. So in their eyes, I'm thinking they're going, you know what, to the wall here.
I mean, they should. Yeah, and we're year 4. It's like we've been building for like 3 years now, right? Like it's okay to go after guys to try to win at this point.
This fan base isn't beaten up since 2012, 13. We've had it. I mean, this has gotten to a point. Enough's enough already.
But you got the fan base that's saying, "Oh, you can't make win now moves." Well, what kind of moves you want them to make? Like we can't keep building every year. Like at some point, you have to go beyond just building, right? Like,
and again, people don't read anymore, right? Like God forbid they actually read something in their lives. I mean, there was a big, I don't know. It might have been Jerry. It might have been Giants Insider. It might have been Jerry or Chris. They told you, like they had these quotes from Shane that said, and maybe it was from the Senior Bowl, but it was like literally he said, look, we didn't expect to win in 2002. So when you win, we had to throw out the plan. Yeah. Like the plan was build in 2022, build the 23, and then go for it in 24. And it went the completely opposite way because now you're like, oh crap, like we won. So now we have to have a playoff kind of thought process. Let me plug Waller in, right? Let me plug these other guys in. And it didn't work out. So they weren't prepared for winning, and then they weren't preparing for the team to fall off a cliff in 1 year. So bit him in the ass.
And they gave up a 3rd-round pick for Waller, so it's not like they went after and made all these crazy win now moves, right? It was one move for the most part that year.
No, this fans base needs an injection of excitement, and bringing a guy like Stafford just ends all this quarterback. These issues that we've had for years since even while Eli was here because the line was so bad. But we're going years now.
Do you guys think that they should be drafting offensive linemen or not? Because again, I'm just looking. I've showed you guys last week. Hey Zach, Do me a favor. Last week we had the Eagles draft picks in the queued up. Do you still got that in there? And if it's so, pull that up. It was like a listing of the players the Eagles drafted. Guys, when you look at what the Eagles do, we're not going to catch the Eagles. We don't have to catch the Eagles in 1 year, right? You know, Dallas is down. Giants got to take this big step forward in the NFC, get winning again, get on the right track, get players that want to play here. But if Jack finds this, just to bring it up one more time, the Eagles, who now are the gold standard, here it is. Look what they did, guys. I mean, this is like your road map. They drafted their quarterback in the second round, which could have been a first-round pick, right? You're a first-round wide receiver, a second-round tight end, and then 3/4 of your offensive line are all in the first or the second round. So depending on the identity that you want, and then you can go down there and look at the defense. Third round, fourth round, first round. So you got to hit on some of these picks. And the Giants have not hit on a first-round pick between Neal, Tibbs, Tony, right? Baker. Like, they just haven't had anybody hit in the first round.
And it just goes to show these offensive linemen that they choose with Stoutland, their offensive line coach who's been there for so many years. Look what he did with Mekhi Becton, moving the guard, and the guy played pretty damn well.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. Look at Tyree Phillips, we talk about all the time. We sent him to the Eagles practice squad just to get him back, and we saw how he improved.
Yeah, he
we
was
should just
better.
get guys off the Eagles practice squad, off their offensive line. You know?
Yeah.
It's amazing what they do.
It just goes to the fact that, like, the plan. Like, I just feel like sometimes the Giants like band-aid everything. Give me that guy, and that guy, right? Like, look, if the Giants want defense, go draft a bunch of defensive guys. And you know what I mean? Like, trust me, if you put a guy next to Dexter Lawrence like Mason Graham, oh my goodness, the mayhem is going to ensue. If you draft Abdul Carter, the mayhem is going to ensue. You're going to be off the field on third down, and you're going to have turnovers like crazy. Two things that, you know, by the 5th or 6th game of the season, the Giants lost. Dexter got hurt, AT got hurt, everything just spiraled down, right? So if you want to get to that next level, there's your pathway. There's not a guy on here. They're receivers, they're tight ends. We disregard tight ends like they don't matter, and you guys laugh at me. But these great teams have great tight ends. They're not 4th and 5th round picks. You know, so, you know, there is something to say that these good teams have a philosophy. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is a roadmap to winning.
They build the trenches and everything else falls into place.
I mean,
look at the corners. Look at the corners. Cooper DeJean, Mitchell, right? I mean, rookies.
I mean, if you look at it's not dissimilar from what the Giants have done when you really look at it, other than the quarterback in the second round, right? We've taken a wide receiver in the first round. We've taken Tibbs in the first round. We took Neal in the first round. We took JMS in the second round. Like, it's similar. The difference is those positions, Eagles have the best O-line coach in the NFL currently right now. I think we have the second best, finally. And then you had other guys that just didn't develop. So it's not, again, when you really
know what else you want? They're better evaluators. Eagles are better evaluators. Their pro scouting, their staff is just better evaluation than ours. Than Giants.
I agree, but I'm going to go with I'm building off of the 2024 draft, because I think, again, that was the time where Shane had all of his guys and only his guys for that draft, and they nailed it. They named Phillips in the 3rd round. He had Tracy in the 5th round or whatever it was, 6th round. Right? You had Neighbors, who was a home run pick, no doubt about it. And then Newman, I think, Newman with tackles. Yeah, he struggled in coverage, but as far as like being up at the line where they used him, I mean, he was amazing. So I do think it's that too. But again, to your point, Craig, I think you look at an O-line later on, or maybe because they got some undrafted guys to do well. Like, we don't need everybody to be, a high end or high round talent at the O-line to be good. Like, Kubis showed some things last year. You have some other guys that have done well. You got to develop the guys you have. But I think when it comes to O-line, we need guys that have already shown they can have success in the league at this point. Like, we can't rely on trying to develop a young guy again, in my opinion. Now, again,
I'm with you, Sean. I mean, how many Will Hernandez, Zudus, McKeithans, these guys that we've we've seen come and go.
Doesn't work out.
Swing and misses on so many, right?
Yeah, and there's enough
Especially
young
on the
guys,
other
enough drafted guys that let Carm work, let Carm develop these guys, right? Like, I think they've learned their lesson because I think Azudu's back at guard again, so that's good because I think he can develop there, be a reliable backup guard. Like, they got a shit ton of guards. Let's be realistic. When you look at their roster, there's a lot of guards on the roster that they can work with. Let Carm develop these guys.
Agreed.
Cole, you asked about. I put it in the chat. DK's cap hits $31 million in 2025. So you were looking for. I think that's what you were looking for. Metcalf's cap hit.
Yeah.
It's almost $32 million. Just to give you a heads up. And yes, Azudu is cooked. All right, I'm gonna look through here, see if I got any questions in the chat. Right. If there's anybody has
cooked at tackle, not at guard. He's cooked at tackle. He's not a tackle. Should have never been moved to tackle. He was much better his rookie year at guard. He was sharing reps with Bredesen for the first few games. They were splitting time equally in games. Go ahead. Sorry, Craig.
And Sean, that's what scares you about the evaluation process. The fans, we can see that. What are these guys thinking that are out there on the field and watching tape? If we can all see that they put him again at tackle, that's what makes you question the thinking. And I think Brasil's doing a great job. I mean, he must have saw something in him to say.
Well, I think it was I think it was too late to move him. Like, they moved him to tackle. He was getting a lot of the reps at tackle, so they needed a backup tackle, and didn't work out. And I think they moved him back to guard. So, again, that's
Azudu
a
sucks,
back in there.
Azudu sucks.
He sucks at tackle, yeah, but he sucks.
He's a good run blocker.
He's a very good run blocker, and he did well his rookie year at guard. At guard, let's be very clear. He did well his rookie year.
He was average at best. I mean,
it's just
not
there. He was going back and forth with Bredesen the entire season. He outplayed Bredesen.
And
his rookie
that's
year.
not saying a lot, buddy. That's not saying a lot.
No, not what Giants fans will tell you. They love Ben Bredesen.
We haven't had any.
Cole, I'm bullish on the right stuff. You should follow along, my man. I've been right more than I've been wrong. I am on one tonight. I have been way more right than wrong on things and guys that are good.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Azudu is not good, and either was Bredesen.
I didn't say Bredesen. I did not say Bredesen was good. I said the fan base said he was good. Josh Azudu as a guard, his rookie year did well. He actually did really well, and then he got injured, and they moved him to tackle. He's not a tackle. That's all I'm saying.
He's not an NFL lineman, is what we're saying.
He's an NFL lineman.
Guy,
and I only sell on people that I don't sell on everybody. If you remember, I was calling for Tate Crowder to be cut for like 2 years, and that dude was starting, right? Like, I don't want to hear it.
Dude, there ain't anybody bigger on the planet that hated Tate Crowder than me. There is not a guy on the planet.
David Mayo out there too. Good God.
Mike on here, he'll tell you.
Fans were like, "Oh, Tate Crowder is awesome. David Mayo's awesome." No, they are not.
No,
they are not. They're not.
David Mayo wasn't ever supposed to be awesome. He was just filling in. They drafted Crowder to be something, and I'm like, no, that dude was bad from the jump. And if anybody has any questions, anything you guys want to talk about, hit it now, because otherwise we're gonna roll. Guys,
Put up. Somebody just put up about DK Metcalf. Clay from Brooklyn. There we go. So actually, that's much better if they trade for him.
Yeah, right now you're 25 is $18 million base salary. He's got a $32 million. It's 31.8 is his cap hit, and he has a dead cap number of 21 million.
Yeah. So we wouldn't get the full 31 million hit, right? It's only
on the cap hit. No.
Yeah. So that makes it worth getting him.
Yeah, they could break that up over 2 years as well.
And then he's got a void year in 2026. So, I mean, again, Metcalf, would be a trade, right? He so you could send a guy, not that he would want to come, or I don't know. Like, it's just going to depend. The Giants, if Stafford's real or not. I don't know what's up with Cousins. They're talking about Cousins to the Jets now. That's a rumor. There's rumor that Derek Carr and the Giants could still happen. There's definitely now talk about Russell Wilson coming to the Giants because, he wanted to be here. His wife wanted to be here. So there's a lot of rumorville flying around. If the Giants sign a veteran quarterback, of that nature, one of those 5 guys, I'm not talking about Winston or Fields. I'm talking about those 5 guys that it'd be really hard for them to take a quarterback, right? But if they sign as Chris alluded to, if they sign a Mariota or a Winston, like, oh my God, they're running to the podium to get themselves Cam Ward. I mean, look, there's guys out there today that didn't even have Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders as a top-ranked quarterback. That came out today. There's a lot of people that are digging into the tape and they're not happy with what they see. And then there's people digging into the tape and love what they see. You know, it's a crapshoot, man. Everybody sees something different. You know, it's really hard to know who's going to be good and who isn't. I mean, you have an idea, but you know, again, crapshoot, right? So, we're going to try to get again on Wednesday. Is the draft show. You got Spartan Mike. When are you jumping on there, Sean? You jumping on this weekend? This Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm on this Wednesday again. Yeah, we're covering O-line.
Yeah, there's like Spartan and Truth are knee deep on this new format of covering like 18 guys. Like, I love it, and Sean called me today and was like, "I know why you do tight ends because there's not that many of them." So I'm like, I don't know. We never used to cover 18, to 20 guys, but Wednesday's the draft show, guys. Check out Rush Hour on Wednesdays. Spartan Mike, Truth are doing the draft show. We'll be back on Monday, possibly with Brandon Tierney. He couldn't make it this week, so hoping BT will come back and hang with us next week or maybe the week after. I hit up McFadden to see if he's around because he's usually jumps on with us in the off season, so we'll try to get him. I got some feelers out there, but the Giants don't like us interviewing players. I don't know why, so we do try to get you some guys, but the Giants aren't in favor of us interviewing their players. Last question for me, Sean, is Kafka going to call the plays next year, or is it back to Daboll?
I think it'll be Daboll. I think he'll stay with it.
Chris, how about you? Daboll calling plays or Kafka calling plays?
I think Kafka has a little bit bigger role, but I think but Daboll's going down with the ship, he's going to do it his way. I think he calls it.
Yeah. I guess
I don't think he's going to put his fate into Kafka's hands, to be honest.
No. And play calling wasn't the issue last year. Let's be real.
No, it was again. Everything was everything is a part of a 3-win winning year, but the play calling definitely is not out front as the issue. I don't agree with you 100% that it was awesome, but it definitely wasn't like the short list, right? Yeah. A lot of other things that we could talk about, starting with like Jones and Bowen, who sucked ass, and a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Giants Rush will be back, boom, next Monday. And Metcalf with a new 3-year deal could be as low as $10 million cap hit. Clay, I'm all for it, dude. No, wait a minute. You just lost all credibility. Does that say you want Jimmy G? Hang on. I got to put this up here. Does that say you want Jimmy G? Stop it. Right. Clay is on crack, everyone. If that's what that means. I don't know what U0026. We need Jimmy G. I think Clay's lost his mind.
He might be the backup. If they get him in free agency, that's telling you right there they're definitely going, obviously,
100%.
Yeah, he's being a good mentor.
The dude has not played football in 2 years.
He can't play a full season. He's your prototypical backup.
Yeah, the guy's got 9 games in 2 years. Jimmy G sucks. But just like I told you, Drew Lock, you guys thought I was being hard on Drew Lock. Drew Lock sucks. Jimmy G sucks.
He's better than Lock.
He's much better than Lock. And he'd be a hell of a backup quarterback and a good mentor for a rookie quarterback.
Just can't stay
stop
healthy.
it. The guy hasn't played football in 2 years. Why would you guys do it? You guys are crazy. Why would
a backup quarterback? A backup. Craig.
Backup. He hasn't played in 2 years.
He's not going to have Wentz, and you want Wentz.
Right. Right.
Wentz. You're on Wentz.
Backup quarterback. I'd probably want like a Mariota before I wanted Wentz or Winston. Winston.
Oh God, no.
But who's the better mentoring? That's what you're looking at. Who's the better guy to learn from? Mariota or Garoppolo? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, no. I'd go with Mariota.
Mariota hasn't won in this league. Garoppolo's been to the Super Bowl.
Garoppolo hasn't played football since 2022.
No, that's not true either. You said he was out of the league. Listen, you wanted Ryan Tannehill. You still want Ryan Tannehill. Stop.
Dude, stop it. Don't even try that. Last year, yeah, Tannehill was
Who didn't play an entire year?
That was last year and by choice because that's got nothing to do with Jimmy G. He's hurt all the time. Dude, if you want a guy, all you're asking for is Tyrod Taylor. And in fact, let me send you the list of the most hurt quarterbacks in last year, and I'll let you pick one out.
All right. I'm just saying we talked about what a bridge quarterback does and a mentor and all those things. Jameis Winston is none of those things you talked about.
I don't want Jameis Winston.
Garoppolo wouldn't be starting. He gets brought over here. They're starting the rookie. Garoppolo's not going to start.
And when the rookie gets hurt, Garoppolo has to play.
Well, he can play 7-8 games. He just doesn't play 16 or 17.
We don't even play a full season. No. Look at Craig already assuming the rookie's going to get hurt. He's just Mr. Negative. We're going to win. We're going to win 4 games with a rookie. Rookie's going to get hurt. Like it's all like pessimism from King tonight.
What do we look at? ACL, ankles, broken ribs. What's the injury?
We covered what a bridge
yeah. No, don't have him put that out in the universe. I mean, we don't need that out there. We don't need that out there. We saw what happened with Spartan putting all that Eagle crap out there last season. Good God. He's cut off. He is not allowed to say anything about Eagles ever again. I told him he's banned. He can't tweet about Eagles or anything with the Eagles anymore. It's no more. No more. I don't like giving that kind of power, but he did it. So
Joe says he sat through Dave Brown. Nothing could be worse. Yeah, Dave Brown was
all
bad.
did,
So was Jesse Palmer and Danny Cannell.
Right? The three of us sat through Scott Bruner too. So
oh my God.
I was too young.
Throw Jeff Rutledge in there.
To know any better.
Couple games. Yeah,
Jeff Rutledge. Yeah. Good backup though. Heck of a fourth down fake guy too.
Who was the other backup that went to San Francisco later on?
Matt Cavanaugh.
There you go, Matt Cavanaugh. He was a decent backup.
Yeah, he was.
He was all right. Yeah,
I mean, for a backup role, yeah.
Colt McCoy. Maybe we should have a whole show on the Giants backup QBs.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. Yeah, there was a lot of them. That's crazy.
I don't care. He's been to a Super Bowl. A guy hasn't played any football in 2 years. Guys are out too much. They don't make it. Jimmy G's not the guy. Mariota would be the guy.
I said Mariota because I like him because I think he did a lot to help Jaden Daniels last year. But if we're talking, if you can have a guy that's been to a Super Bowl and also has come from, I know people hate it, but he came from the Patriots organization. Like that's a guy that can mentor a young quarterback. And that's what you want. You want a guy that can mentor a young quarterback.
He is worried about what his hair looks like and what he's wearing on the sideline for an interview. How he looks
like short guys or pretty boys.
I like
short guys, skinny guys, or pretty guys. He won. He went to a Super Bowl and would have won a Super Bowl if Kyle Shanahan would run the ball when he has a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter.
Had balls, she'd be my uncle. Okay.
How many Super Bowls has Kyle Shanahan lost? 3, right? 1 with the Falcons, 2 with the Niners.
Why are we living in the if? If they just said if Eli Manning didn't have Super Bowl, he wouldn't have gone to he won't go to the Hall of Fame. If we can't live in the if.
Joe Flacco would be a good mentor too. He'd be a good backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he can still play.
Flacco can't run that Dable system though.
Well,
at least
neither can Stafford. Neither can Stafford. Stafford can't run it. When you think about it, he wants a. Neighbors came out and said the offense is geared. I think Neighbors and Tracy came out and said that offense is geared for a running quarterback, and it's around the quarterback being able to run. Stafford can't run. He's not mobile.
Man, he's more mobile than Jimmy G.
No, I think Jimmy G is more mobile than Matthew Stafford. Jimmy G just gets hurt, but Garoppolo is more mobile than Stafford.
All right. Anyway, lots to come up in the next 4 weeks with free agency. We're going to tune in. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully Brandon Tierney will be on, or maybe the week after, but we'll make sure we get him in there. You guys have been great as always. Thank you, Cole, for calling me a pretty boy. I appreciate that. Bang. We'll see you guys next week. We out. Peace.